Hey guys, it's Erin. Welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? I hope you guys have been well. April and May have been really crazy busy months for me as a wedding photographer, so I haven't been on YouTube as much as I would have liked, but I hope you guys have been having a really nice couple of months. This Starbucks cup right here is the inspiration for my bullet journal setup this month. It's part of their spring collection, which is kind of funny because it's autumn here in Australia right now, but I love the pinks and the whites and the golds. I just think it looks really beautiful all together. So I thought I'm gonna get a bit ambitious and I'm gonna try and use some watercolors in my bullet journal and hope that everything goes okay, because I'm not particularly experienced when it comes to watercolors. I did a bit of a watercolor setup last month, but it was my first time using them, so I didn't film it because I was still getting a feel for it. But I thought this time I'm just gonna throw myself on the deep end, so let's do this. Here's what we're using for the June setup. We've got a white Uniball Signo Broad pen. This is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen in Pink Madder Lake 129. I've also got the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen in Medium Flesh 131, which is a horrible name for a color really. My handy Artline Superfine liner and my gold Faber-Castell Artist Pitt pen. Your girl is leveling up to a mechanical pencil and eraser for this video because my pencil broke and I don't have a pencil sharpener and I don't know why. I've also got a bunch of these Derwent brushes. They're just from a cheap shop. I've got some glue tape because I'm going to try a bit of collage in this setup, which is not something that I've done before, and the glue tape is new and I'm very excited. This is just some really cheap pink polka dot wrapping paper that I use in some of my branding stuff that I'm gonna tear up and stick down. And then here's the watercolors. I don't have a palette because I'm not that hardcore. I'm just grabbing out the reds. I don't like the warm red as much as the cooler red because I figure that'll make a nicer pink. Got some water and it's time for some tunes, and let's all bask in the wonder that is the speed of Australian internet. Good Lord. Yep, it literally takes this long. Okay, gonna just squeeze out a bit of these colors, just a little bit of red and a fair bit of white to get me started so I can mix up some lovely pale pastel pinky colors. And all right, I'm nervous, but I guess it's time to dive in. So I'm just gonna start out with my pencil, kind of take some inspiration from this cup and sketch out some vaguely floral patterns. I'm definitely not staying super true to the design, like I'm not copying it exactly, I'm just using it for inspiration. So it has these sort of daisy type flower patterns. I don't know much about flowers, guys, that's just a guess. It's also got some more like ruffly, I guess carnation-y sort of situations. Got a lot of leaves going on. Some of them are solid colors, some of them aren't. Not too sure, but whatever. It's time to attempt some paint. Let's do this. So the thing I'm finding about watercolors is, particularly on the lotion paper, which is coated but not very thick, you got to go quickly. You don't want to use too much water, and you can't be impatient when it comes to drying, which I kind of am. And I think some people will get a hairdryer out and hairdryer their pages before they continue. I'm not quite that dedicated, or at least not yet. Just quietly, I've been told that I speak really quickly, not from anyone in my life, just from you guys commenting. So if you feel like I'm talking too fast, feel free to slow me down. YouTube can set me to 0.75 speed if you would like. I'm going in with this is the flesh colored pen to just add a little bit of detail into like the June title at the bottom, which I almost messed up somehow, but you know, whatever, we fixed it, it's okay. I don't love the combination of this like warm pink with the cooler pink of the flowers, so it doesn't appear again in the rest of this setup. Sorry, medium flesh pen. I switched over to the other one for the rest of the setup because I just thought it wasn't, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either, you know. And I just added in a bit of detail with the whites in your pen before we carry on. All right. I have never been one to stick things into my bullet journal. I don't like my pages being too thick. I don't like a really fat journal because I feel like it's harder to carry around with you. Not that I carry my journal around that much, but I figure this is really thin. This glue makes it really easy. And I found out from last month setting up my bullet journal with a lot of watercolor in it that I don't like the feeling of the watercolor on the page on my hand, because I guess I'm a bit of a precious princess. So I don't like writing over it, but I still wanted to keep that pink theme throughout the setup, so I thought this was a good way to do it without it taking too long for me to set up, because honestly, painting on every page is time consuming. The The calendar page is pretty similar to how I usually do things. I've just got my little template that I keep in the back of the journal. It's got my box sizes on it. I still wanted some watercolor on this page though, so I added the little date bubbles in with it, but I'm an impatient girl. I wanted to put my June heading on the top of the page, so I thought, oh, if I just put some paper over it, maybe it'll be fine. It was not fine, but it didn't completely ruin it either, so whatever, it's all good. Also erasing around watercolor that's still wet, probably don't recommend. Pencil eraser shavings in your watercolor, not ideal. So I tried setting up my little headings with the watercolor. I didn't really love it, and I ended up going back to that and going over it with the pen. I'm just gonna fill in my dates on each of these bubbles. No goals or next month sections this time, because honestly, I don't really use them. What I do use though is my gratitude log, so I'm just referencing a previous one, making sure I'm leaving enough space for all of the days of the month and enough space for a bit of a heading at the top, and I'm just gonna stick some more of this wrapping paper situation down the bottom here. So easy with this glue tape, guys. I have been sleeping on this stuff apparently. Managed to not screw up any numbers this month either, which was nice. So at this point I got a delivery, and when I got up from my desk I realized how dark it was because I was filming this in the afternoon. So being a photographer, I just thought I'd pull out my video lights. So I grabbed one at first and I got that set up over here so that you can still see what's going on. It was kind of like not quite on dusk yet, but starting to lose a little bit of light. So I got that set up. I'm like halfway through the word gratitude. Tried setting up a reflector as well. Wasn't really feeling it. It was sort of in the way and it wasn't really doing enough. So I ditched it and I thought, let's just get on with this setup. So something I added in last month that I've never had before was a mood tracker. I've just found that this year. Oh, time for a second light. Sorry guys, let's get this situated. Cool, let's go. I just found that this year's been kind of like tricky, and I've been trying to be more in control of my feelings and reactions to things, and so having a mood tracker can help me to just make sure that I'm not falling into bad patterns. Gratitude tracker is still exactly the way that I've always done it. It's just not taking up as much of the page as usual. And I've just popped a really simple mood tracker down here. I don't have time to be coloring in a different flower every day with a different shade of pink or anything like that. So I just do like a little line kind of thing. And I guess I'll just draw a cute little flower coming out. Just gonna go back and fix up these headings now that this page is dry and carry on to the next page, which is also a little bit new. This is my spending tracker. I've been doing this since February, but for some reason I keep forgetting to put it in the beginning of my Bujo setup for the month, so it kind of ends up floating around after all of my weeklies, and I didn't love that, so I remembered this time around, made it into the front setup of the month, and it's a really simple page, honestly. I've just put a little bit of paper at the bottom to zhuzh it up and keep it with the scheme, and then it's just a little table. I've got item, category, and cost, so I can keep track of how much I spend, because I spend less when I'm tracking what I'm spending. When I'm like, oh, I have to write this down later and it's gonna like add up in my food that's not groceries category. I also forgot to do a social media section last month, and I feel like my social media suffered as a result. So still keeping it really free, just a little bit of this wrapping paper collage-y situation on the sides. And all right, time to get back to some watercolor. So I'm gonna get into my first weekly spread for the month here. Pretty similar approach to how I did this on the cover page for June, except that I'm not really checking the bottle this time. I'm just kind of freestyling a little bit more. I thought I'd do a little sort of rosebud for each of the days of the week, keeping this to a kind of very free and open, linear, left to right kind of situation. Oh guys, I'm so sorry about this tungsten light. It was just so dark by this point that I needed to turn on the light in my office, and the light in my office is very orange. It's only the very last part of the video that looks like this, so I'm very sorry for my fellow photographers out there who are cringing. I have color corrected this as best I can in DaVinci Resolve. It won't let me white balance it towards the blue end of the temperature scale any further. It's already at like -4,000, so I'm so sorry. I found this was a lot easier this time around because I guess you kind of get used to the pattern that you're painting or drawing or whatever it is that you're doing. And I guess I was getting used to the watercolors as well. Had a lot of fun setting this one up. And Mitsu's come to help. What a very helpful cat who likes to get in amongst all of the mess. Again, I'm just going over everything with my little white Signo pen once it's dry. Obviously, it sometimes takes a little while to dry. I had to kind of like leave the page and go away and do something else for a little while and come back. Hi Mitsu, please get off my bullet journal. Thank you, sweetheart. and just popping in the days of the week and the date on each one of these here. And here we have June. I'm actually pretty happy with this setup, and I think it looks really nice with the choose to do holographic journal cover. I forgot to put my little washi tape tab for June on the beginning there as well, but it will look really nice when I remember to do that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're into bullet journaling content, then maybe consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join the party. I also do photography content because that's actually what I do, and you'll find more of that on my channel here. You'll also find me on Instagram at Erin Smith Photo, on Twitter at Erin and the Light, and I'm on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Erin Smith Photography, although I'm not really posting bullet journaling stuff to Facebook, just so you know. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me set up my bullet journal. I hope that your June bullet journal setup is just as satisfying for you as this one was for me. And I hope that your actual month of June is also really satisfying and wonderful. Bye!